saying,
get that
I looked
there.
on the internet and they suggested that there's a code words that the gentlemen in TSA have for attractive women, and that they tend to be pulled out, particularly if they don't want to go, if they want to opt out of the X-ray, and they have to go through some kind of a search, why then they get searched extra, and they've advised good-looking girls to not don't dress well, so that guys don't.
There was an
notice.
interview.
I think there's a lawsuit over
There was an
this.
interview in our research of a
Miss
of a
USA
person
got
who was
searched.
Was it
put
Miss
in
USA?
prison for stealing things from suitcases.
Oh,
And-
sure.
That's why I had my first altercation, because my kids had bought me a little 14 karat gold, some kind of trinket, keychain or whatever, and they wouldn't let me take that on the plane. And I thought they were taking it, you know how they'll take things and move them over and you go through the screen?
Yeah, right.
They put it
They
in
took
a
it and
basket.
took it.
Yeah, and I said, well, you didn't put that back. Well, you're not getting it back. Well, what
You know
are you
what's
going to do
interesting?
with it?
I went to California to
Clippers.
do a
You know,
couple
with
of
a
interviews for this
half hour.
program, and I had a couple of microphones with heavy microphone stands. If somebody wanted to do violence, they could use
Yeah.
one of those microphone stands like a hammer.
Sure.
They didn't bother me.
No, they're not on the list. Baseball bats are, but not,
Yeah.
not microphone stands.
Microphone stands were much more effective weapons
Yeah.
than baseball bats.
Exactly.
And
It's
I
just
was
not on anybody's radar.
I was surprised that they
Yeah.
didn't ask me, wait
Well,
a second, what do you got?
I rather suspect this thing about profiling. Is like what I said at the beginning. It's like if it's somebody else's problem, unless you're into civil rights and worrying about other people's rights, why you don't notice this stuff. I mean, I'm not profiled. You may be. I generally am not. I kind of look like a business person. I look stable, and I usually go through. But even that stance that they make you take in order to, some people can't raise their arms over their shoulders, so now they're going to get searched just because they don't have this shoulder mobility.
Well,
You know,
there's a fair number of people who find it offensive to do that stance, because that's what
And it's a bad
criminals
stance.
do.
It's a very vulnerable
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
like.
yeah,
There
exactly.
was in the research again, there was an interview with a woman who said, what's the deal here? Just get over it and do it. They're trying to get this right here. And she was repeatedly subjected to the stance, and she didn't have any problem with it. I wonder how many
I
people would like
suspect
that.
you'd be
out there.
surprised as to what a dedicated, think of what some of the people in prison do.
Yeah.
And here the terrorist has a lot more time, a lot more resources,
I'm sure you could
and if they can
secrete a
come
lot.
up with a lining in the pocket that is actually explosive plastic.
False, yeah.
Or,
You know
I
what,
mean,
I
it's
really
really
think
the question I
overall-
have is how much is frustration with the TSA plus other things really give rise to things like the Tea Party. We always talk about the Tea Party with taxes and this, what have you. But Tea Party is fundamentally frustration with government intrusion. And here is a case of anybody who flies may have a feeling of a government intrusion.
Sure, there's another one.
So it's that aggravation, and I wonder how much of it contributes to it.
Yeah. I don't know if you've talked about gun control yet as an issue, but
We did.
I wonder about one of the solutions that conservatives seem to have is that we need to identify people with mental disease and treat them, which of
As
course.
though we can do that confidently
my question is-
securely and without any contradiction.
Yeah, well, my question is the invasion of people's rights to be a little bit crazy. I mean, because there's various degrees of mental instability. Where do you draw the line that a person wouldn't be allowed to have the gun? That actually could build an inventory of diagnoses and information which far surpasses any concern about invading your right to possess a weapon. Like if you went to the psychologist once when you had a problem 20 years ago, is that going to be on somebody's record? Are they going to do medication records to see who needs a tranquilizer, who has anxiety disorder? That's more. I think they're asking for a lot more trouble than just banning assault weapons.
I've been reading recently some lawyers talking about whether the Constitution can be sustained.
Or suspended, did you mean?
Sustained or suspended, whatever. Whether it can be sustained, or must it be parts of it redone because there was 19th century assumptions that were generated. or
No,
18th,
no.
late 18th, the early 19th century.
Yeah,
something.
well, that's-
Really, the technology issue. I mean, what does privacy mean in today's world?
Well, I'm not sure anymore.
You know, I mean,
Well,
I don't know who
I
has
can-
more
I can
information
X-ray
on
your-
the government or Google.
I can X-ray your body.
You know?
Isn't that somewhat of an invasion of your privacy?
Yes.
We don't even worry about that. That's a search. Do we worry about that? No.
Unreasonable search and seizure, is that an unreasonable thing, given the potential threat?
It's about 5%.
Well, the ruling has been yes.
Yeah. About 10% of the people that fly think it's unreasonable. But,
10%.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know what number, but some significant
Some
number of people
significant,
think it's
but not
unreasonable. But
majority.
the courts apparently don't. But if you were walking down, you know, if you were going into the drugstore and they had a metal detector and an X-ray machine, found
I mean,
out
they
that
don't?
and they found out that you were that you had some illegal substance on you, well, that wouldn't fly. That's not good evidence. You know,
They have that in Puerto Rico.
They probably do.
And,
have it,
but
they have it in
basically,
China.
you're not allowed to be in the store. I don't think there's any
No.
authority to, bust you per se or what have you, but if you walk in and the buzzer goes off, you are, actually it's a dual door system, you never get to the second door.
Did you see here on NPR they were talking about the millions of cameras that are being installed in China? We have millions of cameras too. You know. So
The idea
of privacy, is
Right,
is
right.
is
Well, the idea,
very
the,
much
the
different.
way it was codified.
Of course, that's not actually that was an invented concept.
Well, privacy was.
The
an
private that was in the Constitution, was invented too. So maybe it would be invented out.
Uninvented,
Disinvented, yes.
disinvented.
Yeah.
Sarah, you have enough here?
Mhm.